Hello, I'm Cheryl Boykins. I'm the Chief of Police at Cal State University East Bay, and I'd like to extend a warm welcome to you to our campus. And if there's anything that myself or my staff can do for you, please just ask. I'm here to introduce the Parking Management Solutions session. For years, the CSU Stanislaus Police Department has successfully operated a shared service center that manages parking tickets for their campus, as well as a number of CSU and community college campuses across the state of California. If you've parked in the wrong spot today, hopefully you haven't, you may be contacted by the Parking Management Solutions, as they are processing all of our tickets as well. First, I'd like to introduce Amy Biggs, who administers the Police Support Service Division, the largest area within the CSU Stanislaus Police Department, with 7 primary areas of responsibility, including the Parking Management Bureau. With over 10 years of professional experience in the parking and customer service industry, her specific interest is in advocacy, in efficiency-based approach in the development of systems that addresses campus community issues. She collaborates with internal and external associates and is responsible for 11 campus partnerships, business clients, and thousands of customers. Next, I would like to introduce Craig Boucher. Thank you. The developer for the parking management systems. For over 14 years, Craig led the creation and development of this dynamic system, including the latest migration from Oracle to SQL Server. With over 25 years of IT design and development experience in the CSU system, he has honed his expertise in data modeling, database design, and web development. As a principal and founder of Westvic Incorporated, Craig developed the premier production feedback and monitoring system for the dry cleaning industry. His system is sold domestically and internationally in Japan, Germany, Australia, and Canada. The system increases human performance and is now sought as a powerful performance-enhancing tool in a variety of industries. The system currently handles over 300,000 transactions daily across America. Craig's expertise in front-facing business systems is sought nationwide. Most recently, he served as the lead IT consultant for Intersight, and he brought his front-end design and informational management development skills to bear on Intersight's national service delivery system to recruit clients and assure their outcome experience is seamless. Finally, I'd like to introduce Phyllis Crittenden, who has 30 years of progressive professional business experience in contracts and operations management. During the course of her career, Phyllis has held a range of management positions in supply management, commodity management, and procurement management within the medical health services, semiconductors, and defense contractors industries. She's held the responsibility for sourcing and collaborating with a wide range of global suppliers located in Asia, Latin America, and Western and Eastern Europe. Phyllis's guiding principle is to develop partnerships that create incentives for both parties in order to contribute and benefit all stakeholders, employers, employees, suppliers, subcontractors, communities, and societies. Phyllis is currently collaborating with internal and external partners in California State University, Stanislaus, to develop value-added integration strategies that influence and empower campuses and community stakeholders based on stewardship and accountability. Here's your panel.
Yeah. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having us here today. We're delighted to have this opportunity to explain to you what Parking Management Bureau is and what our shared service is that we provide to different campuses. So first of all, I'd like to go over a little bit of the P&B history, how it came to be, and what the shared service is. In 1993, parking tickets were no longer processed by the courts. So a lot of universities, a lot of campuses had to come up with a way to process their parking tickets. And while at that time, there were a lot of private processing businesses that were popping up. But our chief at the time had a more innovative, cost-effective idea. He thought, well, maybe we can process our own tickets, and maybe we can provide that service for other universities and campuses as well. And by collaborating with our financial services department and our IT departments, P&B was born. We have been processing parking tickets for over 20 years for different campuses throughout California. We've extended our knowledge, resources, and services to those campuses, allowing them to save time and money. And because we utilize the system ourselves, our enforcement team uses our P&B equipment to enforce parking out in the parking lots. Our parking and financial staff use the database every day to run reports and to just look up information, how is our parking program doing? So the system needs to be dependable and an efficient system, not just for our campus, but for our campus clients as well. Have any of you received a citation as a guest on a campus or have had to ask for a citation to be voided for a guest? Well, we specialize in higher education. So a lot of our new features are specifically designed around the higher education campuses. So just to give you an idea, we have a feature called Do Not Cite List. And what this is it allows the office staff to enter in the guest vehicle information. And that information goes right out into the field immediately to the ticket writers, has the location information, the vehicle description. So hopefully we can avoid issuing parking citations to important campus guests. And to tell you a little bit about our equipment, our ticket writers are user-friendly and reliable. They take digital photos and they transfer data to our system wirelessly. So that online payments and disputes can be handled within minutes of writing a citation, because we want those tickets resolved. And when it comes to being a university employee and working with P&B, we're very aware that switching vendors for any service can be very costly. And knowing this, P&B provides we provide our service and our equipment for free. So rather than itemize our services, we believe in keeping it simple. And we provide ticket writers and printers, customized citation rules with the campus emblem at the top, different correspondence, including the delinquents notices, a website, a system database, and online administrative reviews. So what we do is we have our campus, each campus determines what their three-tiered fine structure will be for their parking tickets. So for instance, a parking ticket for no permit displayed might be $30 initially, and then it might increase to $60 and then increase to $100. Our P&B fee structure is developed to benefit our campus partners so they can keep a lot of that parking revenue in their budget. So for every ticket that's issued, P&B charges only $2 for an administrative fee. And let's use the $30, $60, $100 structure for the following example. If a ticket is paid at $30 and we've already taken our $2 administrative fee, we don't take any more on top of that. So whether the ticket's paid or not. The fact that it just entered our system is the administrative fee. If a ticket is paid at $60, P&B charges the $7 in addition to the original $2, but we take no more if it goes unpaid, and if it gets paid at the $100 level, P&B takes $15 in addition to the $2, and our campus partner can keep the majority of that revenue. And what each campus makes in terms of parking revenue and their collection rate is completely up to each campus. So first of all, as you can see on the left side of the slide here, what is the campus parking fine structure? Now that's determined by each campus. And how many tickets are issued? How active is the enforcement team? And then the void ratio, how many tickets are being voided? And as you can see, in the example on the slide here, the first campus has the highest fiscal year revenue, and then you can see their third bail amount is 102. So it just depends on what the fine structure is on each campus. Overall, the PMB collection rate is 82% for paid tickets. There's only 3% of tickets that enter our system that are uncollectible, and that might be because the vehicle was junked or transferred ownership. 15% of citations that are entered into our system are voided by the agency, and again, 82% are paid. And on the right there, it shows the method of payment, and we've seen a significant increase in the online payments as well. So the ease of use. And what our goal is a long-term successful relationship with our campus partners. With a knowledgeable staff and innovative equipment, we can save campuses time and money, allowing their staff and revenue to focus on more important things. And we all need our staff to focus on other projects. We all need our revenue we all need to see money going into that parking budget so that we can maintain our parking facilities on our campuses. And PMB before I pass things off to Craig, just so you know, PMB is a unique enterprise. We are a higher education group. We do not have a bottom line to cover our overhead. And we don't do this for private gain, but for public good. We help fund scholarships for California higher education. We generate revenue with our higher education partners and push it right back out. So it's truly a unique collaboration tool for the betterment of higher education. This is a snapshot. This is a snapshot of our database. Just so you can see, we say designed with you in mind. Because we are the end user. We know that our campuses are going to be the end user, so we know it needs to work well. So with that, Craig? Here you go.
Thank you, Amy. And thank you so much for this opportunity to share with you what I believe is a really great system and a great example of how services can be shared between campuses. And now, I'm a techie at heart, and so I'm much more comfortable sitting behind a keyboard pounding out code. But when I was asked to participate in this panel discussion, I saw it as a really great opportunity to share with you why I believe PMB has been a success and why it's such a great example of shared services. Now, is our system perfect? No, because no system is, but we really strive to deliver the features and functionality that our clients want. So what I hope to leave with you today are the characteristics of our system that make it a great candidate for shared services, as well as a little history of PMB, just so you can kind of get a feel for how the sausage was made. So, 20 years ago, when we started this little venture, like Amy mentioned, there were really only a handful of vendors that offered any kind of software for processing parking tickets. And quite frankly, we weren't happy with anything that we saw. And so we decided to build a better mousetrap. And fortunately, we had the resources of the university IT department and technical staff that had the abilities to build such a system. And so now, personally, I believe you're almost always better off buying a system off the shelf if you can. But if your needs are unique enough and there is no viable off-the-shelf system, then you might have a candidate for shared services like we had with PMB. Also, 20 years ago, the internet was somewhat in its infancy, and there really were no online services providers for processing parking tickets. And we knew this was the direction we wanted to go. So, there are more online service providers today, but I think they tend to be a little more expensive than we are. So, What else makes our system a great candidate for shared services? System complexity. We have an interface with the Department of Motor Vehicles. So when you get a ticket, we get your name and address from the DMV, so we can send you a notice by mail. And this is required by law, but it's also really important on college campuses where many students drive vehicles that are registered to parents that may live hundreds of miles away, and so they really appreciate getting that notice before that ticket gets too expensive. So also, what happens if you don't pay your ticket? We ask DMV to attach that ticket to your vehicle registration, and so you can't renew your registration without also paying for that ticket. And so if you go to DMV and you pay that ticket there, they have to notify us, and or if you decide to pay that ticket with us, we have to notify DMV to remove it from your registration. Now this interface and the tracking of the status of the tickets, it's a fairly complex system, but it definitely increases our collection rates. And over the years, we've really automated and refined this process, so our clients get the benefit of this interface without having to create it and manage it themselves. So if you have a complex interface, and the process is pretty much the same for most of your campuses, you might have a candidate for shared services. So what else? The online payment system. The idea of taking credit cards online can send shockwaves of fear through many financial services and IT administrators. And so this was the case on our campus, and it also made us a little nervous. So we decided to contract with a third-party vendor called CashNet. When someone wants to pay their parking ticket, they come to our website and they look it up by the ticket number or the license plate, and then we hand them off to CashNet to complete the payment transaction. And once that's done, CashNet notifies us that the ticket's been paid, so we can mark it as paid. So if there are potential liability issues, you might have a candidate for shared services. What else? 200 web. So our system consists of about 200 web pages and about 100 database tables. And I would consider this a small to medium size system, but the perfect size for shared services. It's not something that the whiz kid in the IT department can whip out in a couple weeks, but it's also not something that it's going to take you a team of developers and a bunch of consultants to build. So, if the potential system is in that small to medium range, you might have a candidate for shared services. And data security. So, when we first developed the PMB system, it was our intention to process tickets for other agencies and other campuses. And so this required that we design the system so, an agency could see their data, but of course not see anybody else's data. And this has really been a high priority throughout the life of the project. So if you're going to build a system that you might want to share, design it from the beginning to support multiple clients. So now for a little history. When the concept of PMB was initially created, it was some people that have since retired, and now we have a new generation that is really doing an excellent job of moving PMB forward. 20 years ago, when this all started, and I apologize if I'm getting a little technical here, but that's kind of my world. We were getting ready to go live with the Banner ERP system. Some of you may remember Banner. And this used Oracle, the Oracle database, and Oracle Forms. for the front end. And really, these were exciting new technologies for our department. And so one of our senior analysts decided that he was going to use these same technologies for the PMB system. And so being a senior analyst, relational databases were a fairly new concept. And most of our experience had been with the older flat file systems. So the PMB database was really initially designed as kind of an older flat file system that was loaded into a relational database. But hey, it really worked great for many years. So I think it was in early 2000, the CSU mandated that we all the CSUs transition to PeopleSoft. Now with Banner, we were hosting the database locally. So we had an abundance of staff with skills and abilities in Oracle and Oracle Forms. And with the move to PeopleSoft, the hosting was moved off-site. And so what we saw was a natural migration away from Oracle, and the skill sets in Oracle were declining. Also, we weren't getting the financial resources necessary to support all the hardware and software required for all things Oracle. Our hardware and software was aging, and it just wasn't being upgraded or replaced. So our CIO made the decision that all of our locally developed systems, and that included PMB, needed to be migrated off of Oracle onto SQL Server. So I was mid-2011. We began the redesign and development of the PMB system with a Microsoft SQL Server backend and an ASP.NET Forms front end. And we use this as an opportunity to completely redesign the database instead of just doing a straight across migration. So we spent the next year redeveloping the PMB system from scratch, and we went live on our campus. It was November 2012. And then we migrated the remaining campuses by February 2013. So going forward, we really, over the years we've tried to keep up with technology and continuously improve the system. For example, when we first started, we received handwritten tickets from the agencies and manually entered them into our system. One of my early projects was to create a Palm handheld application. If you remember the Palm handhelds. Goes back a few years. Later, we converted it to Windows CE, and now we are writing tickets on Android handhelds. New features. We get requests from both our clients and internally from PMB staff, and PMB decides which features they want implemented in the system, and they bring those requests to me as a developer. And if I see any issues, I'll make recommendations. If not, we go straight into development. We try to use an agile approach to system development. Make it a very iterative process, short development cycles, and I try to give previews to PMB as the pieces are developed, so that I can elicit feedback and ultimately deliver exactly what PMB wants. So I ask, why reinvent the wheel when you don't have to? With that, I want to hand it off to Phyllis.
And I will talk to you about partners, collaboration, and contracts. And moving in with continuing with the theme of today, it's been about collaborating to generate revenue. And as we see, Parking Management Bureau, PMB, has done that. Collaborate with their partners to generate revenue. So we've created a brand. And it's a brand that's been awarded the parking program by California Public Parking Association, and that's for our innovation. As Craig has mentioned, that we keep up with current technology. As Amy has mentioned, we get it. It's a sound and sustainable business model. We've been in business for 20 years. We collaborate to create partnerships. So I want to talk about our partners. And as you see, there's a list of our partners. Anyone in here at any of the campus? I know East Bay is one of our partners. Is anyone else in here one of our partners? We have one individual that's a partner. But as you see, we have a host of partners, and we will take more. So our niche is higher education, universities and community colleges, because it's a way that we can come together to generate revenue for both parties. So let's talk a little bit about collaboration. So as we collaborate with our partnerships, we build relationships, and in building those relationships, it's created incentives for both partners. So that goes back to that revenue generating. We distribute the products and services widely, and we organize based on collaboration. So it is a win-win for both partners. And as you see, there's a list of collaboration. So all of the light blue, these are the partners in which we have to collaborate with, the people, the technology, and if you can't see them, I do have handouts to give if you would like a handout on that for that particular slide. So our guiding principle, when we establish our partnership, the first thing we do is empower and require a level of trust. And we engage and we ensure that there is continuity. We want to make sure that there is synergy. We always go back to making sure that it's fair. And so we combine the actions of both parties to achieve the greater effect, generating revenue. And in that, we understand that there is a social responsibility that we have. So we establish standards and have guiding principles. We always try to have appropriate behavior with our partners. And I've been working with PMB for 7 years since I've been with the university. And I know that as we move forward in creating our partnerships, we make sure that it's fair and that they're just. And we take into account, as you see, we stay customer focused, we ensure that there's excellence, we continue to innovate, there's passion, we have integrity and respect. So that's important. As we move forward in the contracts, we ensure that there is a balance of power between PMB and the partner. We add value. We collaborate to add value. And we all know that contracts is a contingency when things go wrong. And I can honestly say, since I've been doing this for 7 years, involved with 7 years, we have not had anyone to terminate a contract. But they do have that option within their contract to terminate it. But we ensure that the power is balanced, and that's important to us. Stewardship and empowerment. We do this because we want to empower and service the communities. So part of our stewardship and service is that we create our technology. So we're able to come and create new technologies with mobile apps and web-based apps throughout our campus. We give scholarships for students. Since 2005, there's been a total of $65K that we've given back in scholarships given back to students. We mentor. We have a positive impact on students, and I have to say, Amy here was one of the students that was a student assistant for the police department while she was attending college at Stanislaus, and she's now the administrator of the PMB, the Parking Bureau. So we give back. Our risk manager currently was a student also in the police department, and now she works under the police department as the risk manager. So student leadership is very important to us. Internships is very important to us. We leverage our expertise, and not only for PMB and Stanislaus, but to benefit others. Any questions?
My question, it has to deal with, you have a new partner, what's a typical implementation time frame, project team, and then how does the adoption go with the current parking services folks?
Well, to answer your first question, implementation time, unfortunately, we're dependent on another state agency, the DMV. So I think it just depends on the process on that particular campus. What we do is we create a draft contract and send it out to a potential partner, and they look it over, and as soon as we have that signed document back, then we start processing the DMV forms, and that's to notify DMV that we have the intent to process parking tickets on our partner's behalf and to place registration holds on their behalf. And once those are processed, which takes at least 30 days, we hope it only takes that long ever. So I would say a safe bet would be 1 to 2 months tops would be implementation time. We shoot for the month, but it's dependent on DMV. And then what was the second question of how it's integrated with our enforcement?
Well, how is the adoption with however the campus is doing its current parking services? How's the transition typically go? What do the parking services folks need to perhaps do differently?
I wouldn't say too much. I think one thing that we provide are a lot of questions and answers on our website. So one thing that we just have to make sure that they do is provide a link to our website on any of their parking web pages. And that would include any information. We include on our website information on how to dispute it, what the timelines are per the vehicle code, and any questions they may have. So really, there isn't a whole lot that the agency or the client needs to do other than just provide a link, and then maybe their own parking guidelines other than their own parking guidelines and their own parking program is provide a link to our website. And perhaps the most important thing is to already have established a parking program. We've had, just over the past couple of years, I think we've had somebody contact us and asked us, what do we need to do to start up a parking program? They don't even enforce parking on their campus. And so we put together a list of things that we thought, okay, here's some suggestions, here's what you need to do on your campus. And every campus is different. They need to pass things through their board and talk about what are their parking fine structures going to be, what's their process going to be, and signage and that type of thing. So I think if they already have a parking program established, then just providing our link on our website is really all they need to do.
I think we typically do about a day of training with the officers and the staff on using the handhelds and using the web app. And so I think there's probably that additional day of training. Yeah, the on-site training is we go there and we show them how to use the database, how to run the reports, and how to use the parking ticket equipment. As far as existing parking tickets, I think we've only had one agency where I've imported the data into our system, but for the most part, I think it's a fairly clean cut over to our system.
Since you were talking about implementation, I think you might have answered my question, but does PMB reside in our server or is it in your server?
It's on our server.
Oh, it's on your server. Okay.
Yeah.
And you guys also do you guys provide the services such as if somebody's contesting the ticket?
Yes. Yeah, we have a contest form that they can go to, fill it out, and then each agency reviews their contested forms and approves or denies.
Oh, okay. All right, thanks.
So, and it's all done, through the web, through a web browser.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.